Hello, everyone. Good evening, and welcome to Popcast on the Rocks for another Sunday. It's episode 34. I'm John. This is Andrea. How are you doing this fine evening?
I am doing well. I got outside today, played two softball games, won both of them. My beloved Packers won their game today, so gotta be happy about that. I know you're shaking your head at me, but it's my birthday tomorrow, John, and they got that W for me as my present. So,
Oh, wow. That's what it was for. Okay, nice.
yes,
All
special
right.
circumstances. So,
All right. Well, you guys, you're just trampling all over everybody with your softball games, huh?
I know, we're
Yeah.
crushing it this
No
season.
competition.
Yeah.
Well, did you do anything for your like birthday early this weekend then? Or are you doing something throughout the week or you got anything planned for that?
I don't really know too much about, if Chris has plan. I mean, he says he has some plans, so I don't really know too much about them. But we went to an apple orchard this morning to go like apple
Mm.
picking, so very fall activity. And then
Yep.
he set up the projector outside so that we could watch the football game like outside, which was kind of fun,
Mm.
instead of just like in our living room or whatever. So that was nice. Like, made some snacks and had like a little outdoor
Yeah.
picnic kind of thing. Um, so yeah, and then he says he's got something tomorrow too, so we'll see.
Okay. Nice. Who did the Packers play?
The Vikings.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, geez. All
Yeah.
right.
So that loss
Yeah.
hurt for Chris too. But he was very
Willing
gracious
to make
about
a
it because
sacrifice for your birthday. Yeah,
that's
right.
right. He was very gracious about that. So he says this is the only one though.
Okay. All right. Well, that's nice.
Yeah.
Um, I suppose you miss out on like going into work or something and then having coworkers do something.
Yeah. My coworkers or my boss usually brought in like donuts or, kind of we went out and um grabbed some lunch at a fun place or something, but
Yeah.
yeah, don't quite get that anymore.
Yep.
So I'll have to go treat
Well,
myself, I guess.
yeah. Are you drinking a fun birthday cocktail? I don't know what that would be, but
I know no kind of really good drink holidays surrounding today, my birthday, or my birthday tomorrow, I should say. But I'm just having a nice relaxing glass of wine. So
okay.
felt like a classic on my birthday.
Sure. Nice. Yeah, you found some interesting drink days though.
Very
Chocolate
random.
milkshake day.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
specific. And yeah, Tuesday is National Creme de Menthe Day. So
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I could have been having a grasshopper or something, but
Yeah.
felt like a
I
lot of effort.
remember I was at a McCormick and Schmick's and
Mm-hmm.
getting cocktails, and I was younger,
Mm-hmm.
um, and I must have looked exceptionally young, or like I didn't have a lot of money or something, because I ordered, I believe, their grasshopper, and they
Uh-huh.
come back to they take my order and they go away, and then they come back without the drink and say how much that'll cost. Like, did you know that's going to cost this much or something? It's like
Okay.
I mean, it's like thanks, I guess. And
Yeah.
I felt obligated to get something else, I suppose, that
Yeah.
they're telling me this drink is so expensive. When I
That's
should have
so
had the
weird
reverse
though.
reaction. We were like, yeah, give me three of them,
Right, exactly.
like,
Yeah. That's what I want to spend. Great. Just throw some dollars down on the table. It doesn't even matter what they are. Just
yeah,
boom, take my
just
money.
like Canadian pennies. Bam.
Right. That's so weird. I've never had that happen to me before.
Yeah, I know. I'm
Huh.
like, take my money, right? Take it.
Yeah. Yeah. What's
So,
your problem? Take my money.
yeah. Um, Yeah, well, I haven't been doing too much other than work, I guess, and watching shows for things. I finally started Dune,
Oh,
so
nice. Okay.
just got going into that. It's not what I've expected so far,
Mhm.
but it's all right. I found for show and tell that no
Ooh.
one will care about this. The way I learned to type my
Oh my
old
gosh.
copy
Look
of
at
Manus
that.
for Macintosh.
How many
But
people even know what that is and how to use it now?
I know, right? Yeah.
How many
Well,
people look at that and they're like, "Oh my god, it's the save icon from Word."
yeah, right. Yeah, what's Word?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, changes fast, but no, it's a good program.
Mhm.
And I use old floppies now for coasters yet.
Oh,
I think I've
nice.
shown you some before or something, but yeah,
That's right, that's right.
I don't think
Yeah.
I'll use this one. Usually they were just empty floppies or like
Right.
backup to, or something, not like a program like that. But
Yeah.
so I thought about trying this one again, but I got to find my floppy drive.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Do they even make those anymore?
I'm sure you could buy one, buy one. But we've got a matching to our first iMac teal one. You
Mm.
could get it with the matching teal floppy drive too,
Oh my
external.
gosh, yes. Yep, I
So
remember those.
we've got that somewhere yet.
Okay.
So that's what I would dig out.
Nice. Old
Yep.
school. Old school all the
Yep.
way.
Yep. I will get to my drink later
Mm. Mm.
because it's appropriate to another thing coming up.
Ooh, all right. Exciting. You got a
Um,
little teaser there.
yeah, that's right. Okay, so for everybody, we got the latter half of the show. We're going to cover a movie,
Mhm.
I Am Mother from Netflix.
Mhm.
So we'll get all spoilery then. But before that, we've got a bunch of news stories to run through.
Yes.
First and foremost, I want to mention that the band that does our theme song has a new song. It's out on YouTube, I know for sure. So
Mhm.
Killing the Flower, is the band, and Falling to Ruins is the song.
Mhm.
So go ahead and take a look at that. Give them a thumbs up and a subscribe.
Mhm.
Um, and so I thought along with this, I would just ask you if you could go to see any one musical group right now, what would it be? What you aching to see?
So, I have a very specific answer to this question.
Okay.
And it's a musical group that I've already seen. It's my favorite musical group. It's
So
Metallica.
Metallica. Yeah.
Yes. But so a long time ago, I forget how long exactly. I think I want to say like maybe 18, 20 years. They put out an album called S&M, which they recorded live with a San Francisco Symphony Orchestra.
Hmm.
About 2 years ago, they announced that they were going to be doing a repeat of that album for the people, obviously who weren't alive or around or knew about it how many years
Yeah.
ago to go see again. And it is honestly, it's one of my favorite albums in the entire world. Like the mix of Metallica's like hardcore rock against like the backing of this full symphony orchestra
Sure.
is
Yeah.
the most amazing thing. And they announced it and, like, it was way too late for us to, like, even begin to try to find tickets. They'd already sold out. They announced it even, like, just, like, 3 weeks before it was gonna happen. But if there's any way that they would ever do that or consider that again, that would be the thing I need to see, like, so desperately. I would make it work. I would make it happen.
They're gonna be 85.
I don't even care. It's gonna happen.
Eh.
James Hetfield is like 65 now, and he still sounds like the exact same as he did in his 20s and 30s, and it's crazy,
It's
and I
pretty
love it.
good.
So
A lot of
yeah, that's
people's voice kind of wears out.
yeah. I mean, you can definitely tell there's a little like more effort into it. He can't just like effortlessly do it, but I mean, he really does. From the times I've seen him live recently, he really sounds great. So
Are
yeah,
there Kegels for your vocal cords? Keep
I'm
them
sure
keep
there
them tight.
are. I'm sure there are, and if there are, Papa Het does them because he's keeping it tight.
Nice. Okay. Uh,
All right, well,
uh,
turnabout's fair play, John. What would you see?
I would go to see Hylum, the like Nordic group.
Ooh, okay.
Very like it looks like there's a bunch of druids dancing around on stage.
Sweet. I'm down.
Yeah, very like
You convinced me.
pagan
Mhm.
ritualistic kind of thing. So
Sure.
yeah,
That sounds cool,
I
like totally
definitely
different.
Yeah, I've definitely played some of their stuff, like when we were getting ready for Renfest last year and stuff.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
very into that kind of thing.
Nice.
Yep. Okay. We've got some gaming stuff. We got some movie stuff. Gaming, I guess I haven't heard it covered too much recently. I
Mhm.
guess maybe the story broke going into the weekend, or I'm not sure when it was. That people didn't have time to talk about it.
Mhm.
But Apple for iOS 14, which will be coming soon, is going to be adjusting their store policies to allow for game streaming apps,
Mhm.
which I knew would happen, but does seem like a half measure,
Mhm.
um, and a real still pain for anyone looking to do this.
Mhm.
And I still don't understand why. I feel like I'm missing something. A
Mhm.
lot of times people attack the app stores or Apple for doing something and they just haven't thought through either the security implications or
Mhm.
something.
Yep.
These big platforms are always people are always trying to scam them. They're always trying to
Yep.
get garbage in. They're always trying to get, and you think, well, okay, you should be able to trust Microsoft or Sony or something,
Mhm.
but the rules are the rules, generally speaking, and they're supposed to apply for everyone. Now they've
Mhm.
made uh, exceptions before, which I
Mhm.
don't like when they do. And I don't want them to make exceptions here. I want them to change their rules proper because
Right.
I'm not understanding the threat or the problem with allowing for um, these streaming services just to be on there.
Mhm.
Just say if you're gonna have a streaming service, got to really be a streaming service. You don't get
Right.
to download anything. You're not downloading another app. It's not another store.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know. Still it makes them look bad for sure.
Yeah.
I think so. But yeah, I think this is like the half step and
Yeah.
see if they all like accept it
Yep.
and then go with it, or if they're like, no, and then we hash it out more. So we'll see.
Right. Yeah, I mean, like, the core concept is great. I mean, the core idea of, like, streaming games on your phone is
Hmm.
great if you wanna do that. It's just I'm not sure this is the right way. This is the right the right step to take towards achieving
Yeah.
that goal. Yeah.
It seems like it makes Microsoft or Sony or Nvidia or whoever make basically make an app for every game on the service,
Mhm.
so it can be individually reviewed and
Right.
processed and stuff.
Right.
But if
Which
the
would be
game isn't,
exhausting.
yeah, well, I mean, I don't lots of extra work
Yeah.
for I'm not sure what. I still don't
Yeah.
understand how the Netflix video streaming, unless I'm misunderstanding a tech thing, a
Yeah.
technology
Right.
aspect where something has to be loaded to the phone more than you would see in streaming audio or video.
Mhm. Yeah.
Uh, but I have not heard that case made, so we'll see.
Right. Yeah.
But so that's that in that ongoing drama.
Mhm.
Ubisoft had an event this week, which I thought was thoroughly boring. Uh, um, I
Yeah,
skipped lots of.
your commentary was quite, borderline there. It was hilarious. Just, yeah, whatever. Ubisoft.
Yeah, I've been Ubisoft. I've liked for Rayman games in the
Yeah.
past,
Mhm.
and that's kind of it for
Mhm.
myself. And I've respected other things they've done, like
Right.
Ashley loves the one Assassin's Creed game. Chris
Mhm.
obviously likes a bunch of other ones. People are into those kinds of
Same, yeah.
things. Um I but there's a vibe or a style to a lot of those kind of games. You can tell they're made by similar teams or the same
Mhm.
teams. It just doesn't click with me. But
Sure.
they announced a Prince of Persia: Sands of Time remake, which looked janky as hell.
Oh,
Uh,
no. Boo.
yeah, so I don't know about that.
Mhm.
Um, I think Ubisoft, I don't think they care about Prince of
Sure.
Persia, so they're just like throwing some people a bone.
Yeah.
Uh, and then Scott Pilgrim's coming back, which I've seen a lot of people were asking for.
Mhm.
So that's fine. That's good, I guess.
Piece of good news anyway.
Yeah. And then the other thing to stand out to me was their Breath of the Wild clone. And
Mhm.
I don't mean to sound extra bitter about it, because good games take all art takes from previous art to improve their own.
Mhm.
But this is really, really blatant. Like
Just a
they
rip off.
definitely someone came in and said, "Hey, make our version of Breath of the Wild," and
Sure.
that's what they're doing, unabashedly.
Mhm.
And I mean, it's fine. Just it looks like a poor imitation to me. So whatever.
Sure. Yeah, that's the trouble with an ask like that. It's like you can't really do that without drawing comparison, and if your product is gonna be second rate, I mean, why do it at all? You
hmm
know? I don't know.
it could be fun. It could be lots of fun. People have brought up, of course, if you don't have a Nintendo system,
Mhm.
you have access to that kind of a Breath of the Wild kind of game now.
Right. Right. Still though.
Yeah, it's just a lot similar. It's
Yeah.
stunningly a lot like it. So
Yeah. Yeah, there's a difference between inspired by and ripping off from.
yeah. Well, and one of the cool things to me about Zelda, anyways, is the kind of lore building that those
Mhm.
games do, and they kind of pile on one another. It's taking years to have all that mean more or whatever. But with
Yeah.
this is basing off. It's like they're trying to get a jump start on that, and they're basing it
Sure.
off of like mythology.
Mhm.
So that's okay, But I like the Zelda being completely original.
Yeah.
I like that, and I don't know. Anyways, I could go on and on about it. I could break down the different points or like how it's so similar between, but it's. I know there's other videos out there on that already too. I'm sure, so
Sure.
um, you can see them if you want. I don't need to rant too much at this moment. Here, we'll save it or something. PlayStation event
Mhm.
day after your birthday,
That's
same day
right.
as the Apple event.
That's right.
Um, So I don't know what we're gonna see here. Everybody
Mhm.
assumes we're gonna get price and release dates and pre-order dates and all that stuff.
Mhm.
Some people speculate and we're gonna get another big game or two announced.
Sure.
No one really knows. But I wanted to ask you if you think that the leak of the Xbox Series S and its
Mhm.
price and all that stuff, and then Microsoft having to respond and make that all official,
Mhm.
if that is um, harmful to them at this point now, because now Sony gets a chance to respond. Whereas
Yeah.
if these dates were held originally, if Sony was originally going to have an event on the 15th, and
Mhm.
then Microsoft said they were going to have one on the 17th,
Right.
it would be the other way around.
Right. Yeah, I don't know that it hurts Microsoft significantly. Um I mean, I don't know that at this point they have too much adjusting to do based on each other. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like I feel like they've already gone in with like ideas in their heads about what they want to do as far as pricing goes. And perhaps, like Microsoft jumping the gun and having to, respond to all the leaks and put it all out there early gives Sony like a couple days to like really think about, final pricing, but I would be surprised if anything wildly changed based on that. Just because I feel like they've already done so much, market research. What's our price point? What can we reasonably expect people to pay? What are they, going to be accepting of? Where are we getting our costs back? So, I mean, maybe a little bit, but in the end, I don't know that that's going to make too much impact.
Yeah, I don't know, because to me, otherwise I can't explain why they've waited so long to just reveal this stuff. If
Mhm.
they had done the research, they'd seen the numbers, they know what they can get away with, what the shareholders will be all right with,
Sure.
where we can, how long it will take us to get above board here, get back in
Mhm.
the green, or whatever. Um, then why the delay? Why so long? Why this cat and mouse game? Because I
Keep
think
people
that
on the hook.
if
That's my
yeah,
that's my
well,
only
yeah,
thought.
but what else do people have to look forward to? They have this is that they have, like they
Yeah.
have people's attention,
Yeah.
and I don't know. I mean, I could have seen maybe Sony thinking we're going to try to do 550,
Mhm.
and if Microsoft goes 500, we're going to go 500 too.
Yeah.
And now it's like, well, we know Microsoft's doing that, so this is what we got going. It could have been that maybe now PlayStation will try to lower at least one of their systems by $50.
True.
Just
True.
I could see them making their systems. It was going to be 500 and 450. I
Mhm.
can see them now take another 50 off that low one, saying it's 400. So
Yep.
you have,
You compete
I
with
don't
the
know.
S. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I see that. But like I said, I think that's in terms of like the $50 realm. And it's not like a big jump for them to do. It's I don't think we're gonna see like, get leaks or anything of like, oh, there was like $100 wild price swings or
No,
anything like that. But
no,
yeah, I mean, it
no.
gives them a shot to respond to it. But I mean, we'll see on Tuesday if they even do, if they even think
Yeah.
like, that's a factor in their decisions. Maybe they're just going ahead with their pricing because they don't have anything like the S. They don't even want to touch it. They don't even want to go, it's nothing similar. So let's just not even market at that.
Yep.
Let's just market something else. So
Yep. It's going to be interesting.
it will indeed.
Um, yeah. Well, and I'm excited for that day. Got the Apple event
Hmm.
too, which we don't know what's going to be there necessarily.
Right.
So lots going on there.
Yeah. Busy day.
Yes. Um, sadly, it's not a busy day anymore for Diana Rigg. I
Ouch.
don't know. It's too
Hmm.
bad. Game of Thrones actor is where I kind of really noticed her, I guess.
Right. Hmm.
But dies at 82.
Hmm.
Um, I wrote some of her other roles. I didn't remember that she was in Doctor Who, the one episode.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I knew the other two. I remember her as
Yeah, on Her
Tracy.
Majesty's. Yeah, I
Hmm.
I remembered as soon as someone mentioned it. It's like, oh yeah, okay, but
Right.
I didn't connect it.
Hmm.
So, but she is relevant to my drink. So in Game
Oh,
of Thrones, she played Olenna Tyrell. So I have
yes.
Tyrell
Ah,
whiskey,
nice
Game of
tribute.
Thrones House Tyrell whiskey.
Nice
So
tribute.
yep, it's good stuff.
Sweet.
So
Yeah,
I have a, whiskey ginger using this. So
nice. Nice. Yeah, she was definitely one of my favorite characters. I mean,
yes.
she crushed and owned that role. Her death was probably the most iconic, just like
Yeah.
one of the best deaths, without it being
Spoilers to Game of
iconic.
Thrones.
Oh,
It's been
sorry.
a
Yep.
while,
Yeah,
but
sorry,
there
y'all. I
um
just think like without you like thinking about like a gore factor or a surprise
yeah.
factor. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I mean when you think about other actors, spoilers again, if you care, like Oberyn Martell getting his eyes like, poked out by the mountain, like that's like iconic, and you remember it because it's gross.
Yep.
Or like you remember Joffrey at the purple wedding because again, like, whoa, that happened. He really died. And it was like a surprise and, grotesque effect. But hers was just like solid all the way through. Like you were just like, you get him, girl.
Yep.
Like, you're about to die and you're just gonna like tell it like it is one last time and twist the knife before you go. So
Well, her and Tywin Lannister, I just think make up some of the
hmm.
best moments of the show. And it
Yeah.
really exemplify what that show is, what I
Hmm.
hope Dune will be.
Hmm.
It's whereas later in Game of Thrones, they're clearly just trying to like get to the point and show you some
Yeah.
action. Uh, it's like I read some comments on The Boys season 2, and people are
Yeah.
like, God, when are they going to start fighting? Where's the action or whatever? It's like, did you
Chill out.
watch season 1? That's not
Right.
this show. It's not what it is.
Right.
This is about drama and power struggles.
Yes.
So
Yeah, I mean, I think with the loss of, like you said, Tywin Lannister and Olenna Tyrell, we really lost great characters who loved strategy and the long game,
Hmm.
and they had plans upon plans upon plans and backup plans, and there's just something about watching characters adjust and adapt and be ready for anything that's so compelling. Whereas, like, you had the younger set of characters who were just kind of like flying by the seat of their pants and,
Yep.
moving battle to battle and just being like, okay, like A to B to C. Like, I can't,
Hmm.
go from like A to X to 2 to 7 and then get to B like these characters could. Like, they could totally just,
Yep.
so yeah, there's definitely, like you said, something missing from later Game of Thrones that I think died with these, characters.
Yep. Hmm. So, anyways, sad about that, but
Yes.
at least it was a pretty long life and lots of
Hmm.
successful roles. It looks like so.
Yes, absolutely.
You put this in here. I want to know from you.
Yeah.
What is this about here?
I literally just wanted to throw it in there because I didn't think this was ever going to end. Keeping keeping up with the Kardashians is ending after 20 seasons. So we are going to see a lot less of that family all on any screen. Um, Did you ever watch, like, an episode ever? I mean, I'm guessing the answer
No,
is no now. Okay. I
no,
just feel
yeah,
like I didn't either, but it was, like, enough of a cultural touchstone that you could, like, be like, "Right, I know what that is. I know what it's
sure.
doing," and there was, like, enough of, like, I get it without ever having, like, I never needed to watch. I don't feel like I would have learned anything, you know? But
Yeah, I don't think it's about learning anything. I don't think
well,
the show's
no.
that. And in fairness, I watch plenty of shows that are I'm not learning anything really either.
Right,
But
right. But I felt like you already knew that family's business just from, like, the news, that I just never needed to, like, actually watch an episode of that show. It's like, what
sure,
what is the difference? Like, I already know everything about you. What would I, watch the show for? So,
yeah.
but yeah, it is officially ending. 20 seasons going by.
I don't know if it's just
So,
I guess it's just because I'm, I don't know, getting older that I just don't see this stuff as much now or something.
mhm.
I'm not on the Insta.
The Insta.
Um, yeah, and then I'm not like old and watch Entertainment Tonight. I'm
Mhm.
not middle aged, so it's
Yeah.
just
Oh god, my
like
mom
it's
used to
just not
love
there.
that. Whew.
I mean, I used to
That was
watch Entertainment Tonight, but now that's like that's television. That's
right,
like
right,
no one watches that. I mean,
right.
in terms of like network I mean, does anyone watch TMZ anymore? Do people watch that
Oh
kind of
my
thing
god,
really,
I
or
haven't
is
watched
it
that in
just
so long. I
yeah,
definitely did, like, I used to watch that because
yeah,
it was kinda fun. They used to
hmm,
catch people at
yeah,
weird moments, and they'd say stuff, and it was kinda like, "Oh, that's interesting," but it got, I don't know, the formula for that show got boring very quickly.
sure. I mean, I've seen every once in a while I could be on and there'd be
Yeah.
something crazy. Like speaking of, they had Kanye West was there once, and there was a big whole like thing
Ew.
there. Like it was, so
Yeah,
I mean, if
speaking of
you want
ways
to
to
watch
tie,
train wrecks,
yeah, I was gonna
do
say,
that.
speaking of ways to tie TMZ to Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean,
Yeah. What are they gonna do now?
I think that possibly has something to do with it, you know, like Kanye's kind of revelation that he's bipolar, and him and Kim trying to deal with that, I think is probably taking a lot of her time. So she's just not interested. And let's be real, she was a big focal point for that family. So
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm sure all the rest of them can make enough money just from Instagram and whatever now.
yeah, they're fine.
Yeah, I would have quit a long time ago. Heck, why we
Yeah.
need to let people in, like that. So, um, I finally saw the Beverly Hills finale.
Okay. What'd you
So I
think?
didn't see the reunion yet, but yeah, I mean, it was good. I guess it was about what I expected.
Hmm.
I loved Dorit's party was cool. I liked
Yeah.
her outfit again.
Yeah.
Um, I I too was like Denise is not handling this right.
Hmm.
Ultimately, if I have to be on a side, I'm on Denise's side, but she's just not being helpful to herself.
Yes. I'm
For that, yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same with you. Like, this is not business that we should have been talking about, that should have been brought up this way. Like it was a weird like attack on Denise, and I don't know that anything that anybody has said is proven true or untrue. But yeah, she's not handling it very well. She's not helping
No.
herself when she talks about it.
Like to send a cease and desist to the producers and stuff. Like, what
Right.
is that going to do with you? And it's not,
Nothing.
you know, it's for going to that party. Why couldn't you just tell Dorit, who's been
Mhm.
defending you for most of the season?
Right, right. I was
I'm
shocked at that.
sorry, I heard that Kim is bringing Brandy, and
Mhm.
I just don't want to be part of that. I'm so
Right, which
sorry. Whatever.
yeah, no, I totally think that was the right move. You know what I mean? Like not showing up there if Brandy was so
Hmm.
determined to show up there. Like, yeah, how
Right.
would you avoid like a big scene? And let's be real, like Brandy likes the big scene.
Yep.
So there was bound to be some sort of altercation and yeah, keep away from that. But she should have just said something to Dorit and been honest about it. So yeah.
Yep.
Because
Yep.
yeah, like you said,
And same with
Dorit's been the
Garcelle.
one. Yeah, and yeah, Dorit and Garcelle are the people who've been defending her. So
Yep. So I'm excited for the or for the reunion now. But
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's good, but also like I mentioned in a week prior, like you definitely want to poke Rinna's eyes out because like every time Denise starts talking, like Rinna starts talking right over her, and I'm like, can I just like hear from Denise, please? Like, I really want to know what she has to say, and I'll never be
right.
able to do that if you keep talking.
Yep. Well, that's a common housewives reunion problem. Is
Very
talking
true.
over one another. That's for sure. So
Oh my god, I also just to briefly detour on this one moment. I also watched the first New York reunion, and yeah, echo that
yeah.
problem.
Okay. Yeah, we've been behind. We've been getting behind because we've been trying to watch through more Rick and Morty, and we've
Oh
got the
sure,
Raised by Wolves, and we've
right.
got
A lot of stuff right
the,
now.
the movie watch now, and then the Ashley still has some garbage shows she watches, and then it's just yeah. And I guess I'll bring it up right now because I was about to mention it. That a
Oh sure.
third day starts tomorrow on for your birthday on HBO.
Yes.
That was a
Yes.
show that was delayed. It was supposed to come out earlier, and
Mhm.
I was looking forward to it. But that's starts September 14th. So
Mhm.
yeah,
HBO
watching that.
Max. Gotta say they've been crushing it. They had a slow, bumpy start, but they're really picking it up.
I hope it's working out for them. I hope they're gaining
Mhm.
audience. I haven't seen numbers, but yeah,
Right.
I hope that they are. I hope it's working out for them here.
Yep. Yep.
Certainly had
Same.
my attention.
Agreed.
And you got a couple stories yet too, then before we get to our movie.
Yeah. Yeah, just really quickly, kind of following in the same vein as Keeping Up with the Kardashians, which I never thought I'd say about The Walking Dead. They just they just announced that they are also soon to be ending. They will be ending after 11 seasons, but they're going to split the season into like two halves, like they normally do,
Okay.
but they're just going to be longer. So they're going to have 12 episodes each in a half, and half of those
Mm,
are going to air in 2021, and half of those 12 are going to air in 2022.
okay.
Um, so yeah, so they just made the announcement this week that they're wrapping it up, um, and
Okay.
trying to film final episodes. Um, they did say, however, that they have announced officially a Carol and Daryl spinoff,
Right.
which
Yes, that's right.
Which I'm half interested in and half not. Just because I feel
Sure.
like there's so much Walking Dead. There's Fear the Walking Dead. There's just been a lot of it. I feel like we're all a little tired out. And I feel
Hmm.
like Carol and Daryl, their show could have come like 3 years from now, and I would have been like, oh, like I missed that show. Yeah, I should,
Sure.
I should check in, and I
Hmm.
wonder, what they're gonna do. But right now, I'm just kind of tired. So we'll see.
Well, I mean, I understand from the perspective that every network is trying to be. I mean, there's a lot of competition now,
Mhm.
and The Walking Dead is AMC's thing.
Mhm.
That's their
Totally.
golden ticket, and
Right, their
it has
cash
been.
cow.
And yeah, and I, you know, But I feel like us, and I think we're not alone in the just we got burnt out on it.
Yep.
I think a lot. I mean, I used to know it seemed like everybody watched that show, and then
Yes.
it's kind of strange how much that shifted because I
Yeah.
heard it
Very
got
suddenly.
better again and picked up and different
Hmm.
stuff, but yeah,
Yeah.
it lost me.
Yeah, I used to really love it. Like you said, we're really into it and watching Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead, catching Talking Dead because I love Chris Harrison. He
Yeah.
was such a great host. And then there was just a point where we just went like, ugh, enough. Like I'm on overload and I just can't take it anymore. So
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's coming to a close. It's wrapping up. So which
Well, hopefully they'll have a
actually
satisfying ending then.
I agree, I agree. And actually, I heard a rumor recently um, that Jeffrey Dean Morgan is in talks for a possible guest role on The Boys that might grow into more. So this might be
Oh,
like a really great thing for him to be wrapping this up, so he
cool.
can
Yeah.
kind of shift to The Boys. So
He's a
again,
good actor.
just a rumor, so I can't say
Yeah.
that this is, like, totally confirmed, but both sides are interested, talking, both sides have been like, "Yeah, we've been chatting about some ideas and,
Mm.
season 3 kind of potential," so, yeah,
He's just gonna be
might
the
work out.
comedian.
Yeah.
Worlds will collide. He's just gonna, yeah.
Yeah, that'd blow my mind.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah.
Um, and then this other Netflix trailer, huh?
Yes, so the final trailer is out before Ratched comes out this Friday. On Netflix, and it's the origin story of Nurse Ratched from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Which, if you've ever read or seen the movie, she is crazy, crazy cruel. She is like one of the iconic, I think, kind of cold, twisted, you know, like supposed to be caretakers, but that's actually, very um
Hmm.
you know, I don't know how to put that. The word that came to my mind was like almost demonic, but she is like she's a little bit demented and a little bit demonic in her treatment of people. So yeah, and Sarah Paulson is going to be playing the lead, and I love her. She's a great actress. Even though I'm also kind of a little burnt out on American Horror Story, I still think she's a great actress. So I'm
Well,
interested
that
to
was
see her
my
take on
thing.
it.
When I started watching the trailer you posted here, I'm like, because I hadn't heard
Yeah.
of it.
Oh,
Then I
sure.
was like, Sarah Paulson. Oh, this must be from the person that does American Horror Story because that's like her sole employer
Right.
these days.
He's so
Um,
fascinated with her. Yeah.
yeah. So I've just, yeah. I mean, I never really got into American Horror Story. I know Ashley really
Okay.
liked the first couple seasons, I think, and
Yeah.
then fell off of it.
Same.
Um, and I like watched some with her, try getting into it and just really didn't. And then the I mean, I kind of like the idea of always doing a different story with the same cast, you
Mhm.
know? That
Yeah.
was kind of cool, but and does this person did they do Glee too? This is
Ryan
all the same
Murphy?
person? Yeah, is it who does this? Is it the same?
It might be. I've never really put them together in my head just because they're so, like, different.
Different
Um,
genres, yeah.
yeah, but yes, I
I
think.
thought they were.
Yeah.
They vibe the same, you know, and
Mhm.
there's I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've never and I've liked Glee songs, but I've never
Yeah.
been a fan of that really either. So like
Well,
I'm
I feel like
hesitant about this.
yeah, I feel like with both projects, like you said, I was interested early on and liked early seasons, and then there was a point where I just, like, dropped off. It was like
Mm.
sharp dip in quality and I'm gone.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know if this is supposed to be like an ongoing thing, a one shot, I'm not sure. Um,
Mm.
but I'd actually be much more happy with it if I think it was if it
Yeah, it was
was
just a
just like a
film.
one shot or a
Yeah.
mini series,
Just
just something
okay.
small, keep it contained.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like you said, I like the premise of American Horror Story, and I think they did it well for a couple seasons. Um, but I think, having the same cast do different stories works much better, like in the sense of miracle workers. Like with the same cast does like two very different, they first had this whole like season one about like, oh, we're, a bunch of angels and we have to contend with God, Steve Buscemi, who like wants to destroy Earth. And we're like, no, no, don't. They've got so much potential. And it's like very funny. And then they go to like this Middle Ages plot line where, they've got like a horrible king that they're trying to fight against. And it's all
Hmm.
very, like it's the cast as like the peasants and stuff like that. It's very funny. But that sort of stuff
Yeah,
like works for me better than I think like dramatic stuff does.
sure. Yep.
So, because I feel
Speaking
like you
of,
do get, like, pigeonholed in a dramatic
yeah,
series into, like, playing a
right,
certain role, and you're like, "Oh, they're that person again."
right. Yep. Speaking of the like God and stuff, did you ever watch the Amazon show with
Good Omens?
Michael Sheen? What's that? Good
Good
Omens. Yeah,
Omens?
yeah. Did you ever
Yeah.
watch that?
I've watched one episode of that. I just started it.
Oh,
So
okay.
many things.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited about it. I love it so far.
Okay, cool. Because I remember being excited when I heard about that. It's like, wow, I mean, I love those
Yeah.
actors, so should do that. But then it like just disappeared.
Right, forgot about it.
So, yeah, well, and like people weren't, at least no one I heard of was talking about it.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, it must not been any good or something. So,
I really liked
but
it. I had to get over the fact that, David Tennant plays Crowley, and every time I hear the word Crowley, I think, like, Supernatural. So,
yeah,
I was just like,
right. Yeah,
brain shift. I have to do
I didn't
this.
even watch that, and I would think Supernatural as well.
Right,
So,
right. Which, speaking of shows ending, is also the other day they just posted that they shot their last scene for the 15th
oh wow,
season that they're now closing and
lies,
wrapping on Supernatural.
lies.
It's totally lies,
They'll be
but
back in 5 years.
but they're done for now
Okay.
in this pause
Oh,
that
I
they're
don't.
taking.
Yeah, maybe they'll be done. Yeah, I mean, they got to do something else, right, with their life. I don't
Right.
know. Maybe not. Maybe not.
We'll see.
Alan says 8.1 on IMDb for
Good
Good
Omens.
Omens. So
Yeah, it is
yeah,
it is really
that's good.
good. Like based off the first episode, I would recommend it. So,
Cool. All right.
alrighty
Well,
then.
in all the crazy shows we've been watching, one of them we
Mhm.
started. I'm 2 episodes in. You're 1 episode in. Ridley
Yes.
Scott's um, Raised by Wolves,
Mhm.
and I had mentioned it to a friend. Kind of like gave my idea of the premise,
Yeah.
and he said, hey, it sounds kind of like I Am Mother, and he'd recommended this to me a while ago and stuff.
Mhm.
So spoilers coming for I Am Mother and the first episode of Raised by Wolves potentially here.
Yes.
um yes, spoiler warning. Yes.
Alert, alert, red alert.
I Am Mother, not that new really. I mean, it's not old, but it didn't just come out. It's on Netflix.
Mhm.
um
Yeah, it was like
and
2018 or 19, I think. So,
yeah.
newish.
Hmm. And I was pretty surprised. It is quite a bit, does share some similar things with Raised by
Mhm.
Wolves.
Yes.
What were your overall impressions?
I really enjoyed the movie. I did from the get-go, I was very, in tune and aware of similarities, or maybe I was kind of looking for them just because, we just
Hmm.
talked about, Raised by Wolves and, oh, this is similar. Um, so there were definitely some key elements that I thought, these shared. Of course, the most very basic one being the driver of the movie and the show. We have to rebuild humanity after a catastrophic event.
Hmm.
Um, and to do so, we are going to grow new human children and have some sort of droid or robot raise them.
Yeah.
Um, so I mean, those two basic premises are very clear right away, both in the show and the movie. And I don't know. I don't know why this kind of popped into my head right when I started watching the movie, but I just thought it was really interesting that like this is the problem that humans seem to plan for, or that seems to be the center of a lot of like post-apocalyptic you know,
Mhm.
shows or films. It's like, okay, this catastrophic event has happened. How do we rebuild humanity? And no one ever seems to like stop and address like, should we rebuild humanity? Like, what was this
Sure.
crisis that happened? Did humans cause it? Are we really kind of terrible? Should we not be rebuilding humanity? But we instead sort of like skip right away to how do we rebuild humanity and how do we do it better? And it
Mhm.
doesn't really ever seem like we have a really great plan for better, probably because it's such like a vague and undefined term. What is better
Mhm.
to you? Is it, in the case of this movie, we see, a lot of like the droid who is responsible for raising the first child. We see a lot of tests, a lot of
Yep.
like, you need to know these facts. You need to be physically in this condition. We need to test you so that your exam scores are better and better and better each year. And that means I know you're better than your predecessors.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I thought the movie kicked off for me with like a very fundamental question.
Yeah. I mean, I thought the film did well with the reveal, the pace at which it revealed information.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, first lots of questions, and
Mm-hmm.
then you sort of, you kind of go back and forth. Is Hilary Swank's character telling truth? Is the mother telling the truth? And you
Mm-hmm.
start discovering, like, like this movie didn't have to go as far as it did, like bringing you outside and seeing here is where they're
Yeah.
farming and the big ships and the whole thing, and they went there. I appreciated it. When she
Yeah.
comes to realize that, her previous clone copies, I
Mm-hmm.
guess, had
Yeah.
been wiped out because they
Yep.
weren't good enough.
Yep.
Altering that teaching protocol and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I like the way they did a lot of this stuff. It reminded me of the Raised by Wolves. It reminded me of
Mhm.
Horizon Zero Dawn,
Mhm.
because, like you say, it is a common thing of this rebuilding of humanity.
Mhm.
Um, and I took a lot of notes on this,
Yeah.
but it's always seems to be, I would call it a conceit of mankind to think that we can, if we just had the right humans, if
Mhm.
we just had the wise enough people, if whatever, society would be perfect.
Yes.
If everybody just agreed with me, we'd all be happy.
Yep.
It'd be perfect. And so we can do this via science, via through like there's a formula or an
Mhm.
equation to
Yep.
doing this. And I just fundamentally disagree with that idea, because we're not, as much as we can be distilled to like a computer and ones and zeros and like making calculations on things. We have emotions, and
Mhm.
emotions are complex,
Mhm.
and as long as we have those, we're never going to have utopia.
Mhm.
But if you get rid of those, then you don't have humans.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
like,
You
take your
have
pick.
droids.
Yeah, right.
Although I think the movie does a good job. The movie and the TV show both do a good job of pointing out emotions in droids, the possibility for the emotions in droids,
Yeah.
or the nearest approximation that they can get to. I mean,
Yep.
I don't know how exactly they're being treated as if they're emotions, but I think both you and I noted um when early on in the movie when Hilary Swank's woman character comes to the compound and is let in by the daughter, and they start to talk to each other, and she
Mhm.
starts learning things that are not from mother does appear to get mother the droid does appear to get very jealous if that's possible,
Mhm.
and we both kind of noted like, uh-oh, like this is jealousy. um
Right.
so it appears that they have, the capability for at least a facsimile of emotion, even if it's not quite the same.
But are we reading in, because we're human, the jealousy factor, and the
Potentially,
real
yeah.
impetus there is, you know, uh, your your you're against my prime directive here
Right,
to
right,
form I'm sculpting this being and therefore humanity, and you're
right,
getting in the way. You're an anomaly. You're a
right.
virus that needs to be wiped out at this point.
Right,
So
yeah. I mean, I definitely see that point, and, the second you said it was kind of considering that as well. It's hard, I think, especially in this movie, because Mother does sort of try to go about getting rid of the woman in a way that suggests jealousy, like starts asking her
yeah.
daughter like, "Oh, what did you talk about? What did you?" And we kind of,
Yeah.
like you say, like we get that sort of like signal, that trigger to us, like that we recognize that's one of the hallmarks of jealousy, just like pretending to be interested while being like, "Oh, like so you're learning about this, you say,"
Yeah.
and we sort
Right.
of recognize that.
And well, to me, the biggest indicator of some sort of empathy
Mhm.
factor is the Hillary, because when I first saw the preview and stuff, I thought that Hillary Swank and the young girl were the same person, just at a
Oh,
different
yeah, mhm.
age.
Yeah, same.
And because they look so similar, and
Mhm.
they really were. I mean, they were clones, it seems, and they kept Hillary alive.
Mhm.
Why? Just because she must have done well enough. She managed to escape. One out there I raised as a daughter, won't hurt anything.
Mhm.
And so she was fine until she became too big of a problem.
Right.
Um, so that was really interesting to add that. And it also puts in perspective the time scale. Like
Mhm.
clearly machines have no care or understanding of time as we do.
Right.
So they've been trying this for a long time, or for at least the life of Hillary Swank,
Yeah.
potentially much further. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it was very interesting to me, when the movie first opened, and they were giving those sort of mechanical descriptions of, days since apocalyptic event 0,
Hmm.
compound X, and then they said number of viable fetuses, 64,000 or something like that.
Yep.
And I was like, "Oh my gosh, okay, well, they're at least restarting humanity with a lot more options than, Raised by Wolves, where they started off with 12."
Yeah.
Um, and then suddenly, we jump to the droid, taking one down and growing it in a day, and then, it being born. And I was like, okay, well, I expect, maybe like one a day, we're going to start off humanity. We're going to, do this.
Yeah.
And I was really thrown for a loop when it was like, no, we're going to watch this one singular
Yeah.
child
Right.
grow up. And I kept expecting, other kids, other kids, other kids. So that I thought was a really great like play with time, that showing that the droids, like, they don't have to hurry. They're not
Well,
bound by the same like human lifespan that we are. So we think like, oh, you don't have a lot of time. You just got to get this going. But,
yeah.
droids don't have that kind of worries. So,
And that's the first real hint to how this is different than a lot of the ones. They're not just
mhm.
trying to repopulate, they're trying
Right,
to
right,
figure out how to best repopulate mankind. And
right.
my questions were, um as I was going through the film, I was thinking, so how did this get set up? Like at first I'm thinking, okay, so say humanity is at the brink,
Hmm.
and so they set up a protocol and this facility
Right,
to, okay, your initiative, your programming here is to recreate the human race, but the best they can be, better. And then they
right,
go forward with doing that. Or was it like humans were on the brink and machines that they had made said, you're on the brink, therefore we will wipe you out and we can do you better?
right, right.
Or was it that
Unclear.
human, like
Yeah,
which way did it unfold exactly? you
yeah.
know
Hmm.
did the machines come up with this direct themselves? It kind of suggested that, because they said, like, we will pay tributes to our creator,
Hmm.
or whatever, um in doing this.
Right.
um but Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that that line was totally clear I mean, like you said, suggesting that, they kind of gave themselves this. Although, as we find out at the end of the movie, they aren't really a they. They're really
Right.
all mother,
It's a
which I thought was, like,
it's a
such a
singularity.
great
Yes.
yeah, such a great
Yes.
reveal. That was so huge. Um,
Hmm.
and kind of reminds me of what we were talking about earlier, in Game of Thrones, having, like, a character who knows how to strategize. Mother clearly knows how to play a long game because she had lots of different things going on, and she had lots of different plans in place, things in motion, to set up for her new better humans.
Yep.
And to think, she's been doing all of this from her singular consciousness while also, like, being present with her daughter. That was crazy to me. So
Yep.
a great character choice and a cool twist, I think, on a
Yep.
machines are taking over kind of thing, and machines are rebuilding humanity.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, you know, so then the question is, what is the goal? Like,
Mhm.
is the goal
Right.
a planet that is populated by humans and this one AI
Mhm.
that is just eternally peaceful? You know, I mean, like, life by its very nature in all forms is destructive.
Yeah.
Like, it's violent, it's destructive, you know, the thing keeps getting more chaotic, like
Mhm.
it's so if you appreciate life
Mhm.
for its how finite it is, then you kind of have to take along with it the chaos.
Mhm.
um and I think that it's you're fighting a losing battle if you think that you're able to to make humanity what it's not, or any life for that matter.
Mhm.
And I don't know, I mean, I feel like there's a moral question here
Yeah.
that someone must be on the other side of.
Mhm.
So, like, if you're on the other side of it, please tell me and, like, let me know, because I want to have that, like, how, it was there's got to be based on someone. I mean, real people have tried it for a long time. We
Mhm.
get eugenics. We get people that think they can have a master race or whatever.
Mhm.
Like, somehow one is superior to the other. We can
Mhm.
form this to our will and our vision of, and
Mhm.
to me, that's what the AI is going down that path. And then
Mhm.
the counter is that is like, just as the girl says, but what about my sisters?
Mhm.
You killed them, you burnt them. If you say you care about human life, well, it's
Right.
the big picture.
Right.
It's always the betterment, for the betterment of the whole. We saw that
Mhm.
little philosophical quiz she had. You've got
Yes.
a person with all vital organs that happens to be a donor that can match five others. If you save this one person, that person survives, but the other five die.
Mhm.
Whereas you could take the organs from this person, save the other five, and so
But
then the
you'd be
daughter's
killing that
question.
person, yeah.
Right. So then the daughter's questions valid are, well, am I saving murderers, thieves? How do I know these people? Like, well, then the response is, does life have intrinsic value? So
Mhm.
is it just so there's good questions brought up here.
Yeah.
To me, though, like, the debate is not strong enough, or like there's not, and maybe I don't know. I
Do you
need
mean in
someone.
do you mean in the movie it's not strong enough? Or you just mean,
Um,
like
or
on
like
both sides?
Um, I guess I'm looking for someone to try to convince me out of what I think, and the movie failed to do that,
Okay.
if that
So
makes
what do you
sense.
think then? Like, what's your line?
I think that um, the purpose of the goal of human life
Mhm.
is freedom. freedom is the goal. It's not a means to anything, really. That
Okay.
is the goal. And that is so the goal for me is not utopia because I think
Okay.
that's impossible.
Okay.
So others may say the goal is utopia,
Mhm.
complete peace or whatever. And therefore, I would say that's not possible because that comes at the expense of freedom. And so I wanted to see that back and forth played out
Sure.
somehow.
Sure. So the question then would be if utopia didn't come at the cost of freedom, like just setting aside like your belief that it can't. If somebody came up with a way, would then that just be like enough? Like would you be like, "Cool, done, like let's have utopia because we have
Yeah, I
freedom?"
mean, there's
And
all
would there
kind.
be any other like intrinsic values that you would need for it to be utopia, or would just freedom be enough? Like are we living in utopia right now because people have freedom?
But um but that's one, debatable, and two, of like
Mhm.
widely varying margin throughout the planet,
Mhm.
like, and
Yeah.
throughout history. I mean, but if you even look at modern times now or whatever here, that varies a lot in different places.
Sure.
um and so, like, I would say yes, if freedom existed and to provide, and you could provide a utopia,
Mhm.
then yes, that's the only thing that I would require.
Mhm.
But I don't see those things being possible.
Sure. Yeah, I think the trouble for me is utopia I think has such a different meaning to so many different people. Like so many people would define a utopia as something different that it's
Sure.
impossible to achieve merely because nobody has the same exact idea about it. I mean, there
Right.
are a lot of general
Yep.
things that I think people agree on, but like how far out do you go? Like how many people agreeing
Yep.
on the generals of a utopia do you need before it ceases being utopia?
Right.
Um
So ultimately, someone has to clamp down to
mhm.
cause uniformity to make
Mhm.
utopia. Utopias are based on uniformity, and uniformity is only possible via force.
Mm.
So you remove the option of
Or
force.
right, or limiting the number of people. So force in different ways.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be like whether it's a thought police, or it's a you're eliminated because you don't
Mhm.
fit in. I mean, we see this in Westworld season 3. It's the
Right?
same thing with, we put a whole bunch of people away because they are not conforming to society. You're not going to fit in
Exactly.
with the plan here. And so we
Exactly.
see these kind of things over and over again. So clearly people are thinking of this, and I feel like a lot of people, or some people must think it's a possibility,
Yeah.
but not getting the coherent argument that it is from these sources, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think that to take an example of like a paper that I wrote very early on in grad school, we were studying uh, Paris in 1848. They created a commune in Paris that actually worked really, really well. It's not it's not like communism as we commonly think about it, but it was a
Sure.
commune, and it worked really, really, really well. But because they limited the number of people, and because they
Okay.
had like these core common goals that they all
Right.
agreed on, and then once people started like shifting beyond those goals, it all broke down.
Yep. Hmm.
And then so I think, like when we talk about the idea of like freedom versus utopia, I think it's possible. I just don't know if it's sustainable is maybe the word that I would search for utopia, like because I think there can be sort of like agreement from groups in smaller doses, like smaller groups can agree on things like that. But then, like you have to allow for shifts in this group of, people can leave, come and go.
Yep.
Or, you think like, outside factors influence it. They're like, oh, we don't really like what you're doing, even though, it doesn't directly affect us. You're near us. So we don't like it. So you have to dissolve. So yeah, for me, the issue of like any sort of utopia is the issue of sustainability. And that's presented, I think in a multitude of forms. Like there's a multitude of factors restraining sustainability for a utopia.
Well, anytime you can restrict membership, basically,
Mhm.
then you can hold something like that.
Right.
If you have a cult, whatever you want to call it, any
Yeah,
sort of group, you can kick people in and out as see fit
exactly.
to
Exactly.
make sure that you're providing that uniformity across the board. And
Exactly.
right, those I mean, that's why societies that have a shared culture, get on better than when you start throwing everything in the pot together or whatever. It automatically makes things more difficult because you got
Mhm.
people from different backgrounds that have different ideas. And so you just like, but like when I was talking to Ashley about it recently,
Mhm.
how just um if you imagine you're on an island and you're stranded there and you've got, five to 10 other people there with you, everybody's going to function or attempt to function as a unit. Like if you
Mhm.
go and harvest coconuts, you will share your coconuts with everyone
Mhm.
because you're dependent very strictly on everyone else for survival.
Right.
But if you manage to survive now and you get by that way, everybody kind of has their role, the thing they do, and all of a sudden your island expands to 400 people.
Mhm.
Do you think that you maintain that same sort of, well, no, all of a sudden, like, there's a lot of people here. I want my space of the island.
Mhm.
And I gathered all these coconuts. Like, I'm
Mhm.
going to keep these coconuts. And so, like, all of a sudden, you had a complexity that's before we're trying to survive, and this is what's necessary for it.
Mhm.
To we don't need to try to survive anymore. We're trying to
Mhm.
live,
Yep.
and therefore we have wants and desires and things,
Mhm.
and you can't go back to that other route
Right.
without the application of severe force or like
Right.
nope, you're off the island, you're off the island, you're off the island, something.
Right.
So
Well, yeah, and to throw another wrench into it, when you're on an island with, like 5 to 10 people, to stick with the example, you may be the one who gathers coconuts. Somebody else may be the one who does the fishing. Somebody else is like, oh, I build really great shelters. Everybody's got like a function. But if you have 400 people, you potentially aren't the best at your function anymore.
right.
So like, what do
Yep.
you do then? Do you find a new function? Do you like compete? To try and get better and like reclaim there's a lot of factors that roll into an operation of a society when there's more people than can reasonably do like the needed necessary jobs. So
If
then
you
you,
were a machine, if
mhm.
humanity was stripped to humanity, you just deactivate the other ones.
Right,
Well, you're
exactly.
no longer the most efficient model, so
Right.
you're gone.
Well, and
So
again, to
does
bring
that
it back
create
to
our
what
utopia?
right to again to bring it back to Westworld, there's
Yep.
there's not only like you're not acting correctly, but oh, you're an older model shut
Yep.
down.
Yep.
So yeah,
So
yeah. This to bring it back to I Am Mother. I mean, we don't really quite get into that here, because everybody in the movie does serve a function, at least according to Mother's plan.
yep.
She serves a function of raising finally a better human, that she believes, her daughter is. Hilary Swank's woman serves a function of, you're going to be out here, you're going to like bring daughter out, show her the world, reveal to her what's going on. You're going to be kind of a test for her because I want her to eventually take over for me because humans should be raising, better humans. And that's her function, is to take care of her family. So, Hilary Swank serves a function as like another sort of test.
Sure.
Um, yeah, so yeah,
Well,
everybody's got to function in this society, but as the daughter
yeah.
grows up with her brothers and sisters and things like that, who knows where that will go.
Yeah, right. And that was, I guess, my one issue with the movie is I didn't buy Mother turning over the facility in that
Yeah,
role
at
to
that
her.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, because if you're seeing people as machines,
Mhm.
basically, you think they can function like machines in that way, like we pick the best and you're going to be the best and we, discard the others,
Right.
then it's that's a responsibility that like it's just not not feasible. I just didn't think like it was against the whole point. Like humans are so flawed. And I mean, I get the breakdown. Like, okay, I'm
Right.
special, right?
Right.
But that's one person. You're going to raise
Right.
this kid and hopefully to the same standard. But I mean, I have to imagine she's going to start when that kid's like 5, then take another
Right.
one. That kid's like 3, then take another one. You start, more and more and more and more, faster and faster and faster because humans don't have that forever time span.
Right.
I mean, to me, why would not you'd think the efficient thing to do would be raise her this way and oh, she's a success. All right, send in 700 more mothers
Yep.
to start raising 3 at a time. Like your machines,
Exactly
you can
this way.
replicate. All of a
Yeah.
sudden, you can, yeah, right. So to me, it would have been like, no, you're not getting the keys to the kingdom. We're doing
Yes.
this like at scale now.
Yes. Yeah, it did seem, I mean, I know like that mother talked about, her directive was not only to raise a better human, but then also to prepare that human to take care of her brothers and sisters and things like that. I get it, but it seemed so early, it seemed so soon for that to be happening. Like I just wasn't convinced that like you said, mother was just like, "Cool, you're ready, done. You convinced me with a
Yep.
shotgun barrel to my chest." I don't know.
Yeah.
It seemed like a weird moment to
Yeah.
have that happen.
I know it's supposed to be, I guess, ending with the movie being hopeful then, but to me, it would have been more
Oh,
impactful to end sort of like hopeless because you, I think so. It's the red pill versus blue pill. She clearly took the red pill
Mhm.
and is like, whoa, this is bad. This is rough out here. This is not what you said it was or anything. And um, that's great. But
Yeah.
then, like, because I would always choose the red pill. I hope to whatever creator there is, if there is one, that I would choose the red pill always.
Right.
But also understanding you're given not much of a choice here. If you want to survive
Mhm.
and actually impact humanity, you go back and you are part of this system to raise
Right.
humans back until you're
Right.
able to rebel or take things or whatever, like
Mhm.
you don't have a choice. So if she was part of this system again, I guess that's the ending I would have expected and thought made more sense.
Yeah, I actually I thought the ending was a little bit more complicated. In a specific moment where, daughter is holding her brother and she's humming the exact same
Mhm.
song that we heard mother hum to her at the beginning. And, that's how they close. And I thought that was
Mhm.
really kind of an interesting, like, cyclical question about, like, what kind of parent is she going to be? Like, she's only been raised by mother in this very
Yeah.
specific way. Is she somehow going to do the same things? You know, is she going to be basically just like a human version of mother and therefore like raising almost like a droid?
Yep.
Or is there room, I mean, the filmmaker certainly seemed to be hinting at that. But as we've seen, you know, daughter did have some sort of mini rebellion. Is that going
Yep.
to continue with the raising of her brother? Big sort
Yeah.
of question mark hanging over the end of the movie.
Well, and the machines know
Yeah,
that
right. They're right there.
they right, but then they're aware
They said
that
going
is
anywhere.
she what's that?
Those 70 droids outside certainly didn't seem to be going anywhere. So
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
I feel like mother's still, like, right there.
yeah. But I noted earlier, it's like, well, being raised by a robot, what a
Mhm.
patient parent.
Yeah.
There's no loss of patience. There's no, I'm tired. We're not going to
Mhm.
play now. None of that stuff. Like, it's a different kind of upbringing that a human is not possible of, basically.
Right.
Um, so if you've perfected your formula
Mhm.
for perfect human raising, you've not got it. Like it's not going
Right,
to
right,
follow through.
right,
Also, you've raised it to this film shows a daughter. You've not raised a son, so you've not
right.
dealt with the other sex here and like the
Exactly.
other
You have no idea how
complications
much
there.
yeah, how much different that could be.
How
Absolutely.
much tweaking do you have to change? How much do you have to adjust the education, if you want this perfect specimen,
Right. Right.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. They're gonna be back, right? They're gonna be back in there. Mother will, like you said, well, she'll be back in there. All
Yeah.
right, I'm taking over. We're gonna take
Right.
your
We
brother and
tried.
incinerate him, and we're starting with another one. You had your
Exactly.
chance.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I mean, the other thing is, like, mother raised one perfect daughter at the conclusion of this movie, to her, she raised
yeah,
one perfect daughter. You
yeah,
don't think, like, the next one couldn't be another failure in your eyes? I'm not saying, like, a failure, you know, as a person
right,
or whatever, but, like, a
right,
failure to mother's standards, like, just because you did it
yeah,
one time, how do you know
yep.
it's gonna, like, happen the rest of the time?
And who sets those standards? Like that's
Yeah,
my question.
yeah.
Like, did
Like, all of
humans set
mother's
this program,
all
or
of mother's tests that, daughter needed to continually pass and get better and better scores on, like,
yeah?
what were those? Like, what meaning did those have?
This is some like committee that sat around a table and decided the perfect standards for SATs or whatever for human
Sure, yeah,
repopulation.
yeah,
And like this is, or was this like the machines came up with it? But the machines acknowledge their creators humans, so they're
right,
clearly influenced by humanity. So what is this standard? Yeah,
right,
what is
yeah,
this
to
standard?
what extent is it, like you said, like a some sort of, IQ test kind of situation,
Yeah,
and how much did, maybe the programming deviate from that, or,
yeah.
use it as a baseline and build from there. Yeah.
See, but IQ though would be because it seems like there's definitely clones here. Now we don't know how many like not how many different embryos there are versus how
Right,
many clones, you
right.
know? But like if they're
'Cause
looking for an
brother clearly
IQ,
isn't like a clone.
right?
Receives a
But he
different
probably has
nationality.
many clones.
Right, exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So if she has a genetic predisposition to being of a high IQ value,
Right.
why did her former versions get tossed out? So it
Yep.
had to be some sort of like,
Different DNA
I guess
strain.
that's a question I didn't write down in this that I'm just thinking of now is like the nature versus nurture element.
Mhm.
Clearly, this film is suggesting that nurture is a very large factor
Right.
in defining perfect or better outcome.
Right. Yeah.
Because if you're taking the exact same genetic makeup and then it's varying so widely as you would destroy the other ones and keep this
Right.
one.
Yeah, I mean, we're not ever given the chance to explore that question, in this film, like, is daughter from a different genetic strain than, the brothers and sisters that came before her?
Hmm.
Or simply the sisters. I guess I wasn't totally clear on whether the that mother had tried both genders to
Yeah.
raise both genders before. But yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting to know if, like, they were all clones in the very traditional, like, exact copy sense, or if it
Mhm.
was, her brothers and sisters, she just simply calls them that, and there are different DNA strains that are clones within each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're not
Yeah. They
really
could
given,
be
like, the
altered.
chance to
They could be slightly altered between each one. Yeah.
mhm. Yeah, we're not
Yeah.
given the chance to really know that. The only clue that we get that, it isn't like a carbon copy of everybody every time is the fact that her brother is, like I said, clearly a different nationality.
Hmm. Yeah. Hmm. What other things did this? Oh, I thought it was kind of too like I just always think of when they talk about AI,
Yeah.
the paperclip story or whatever. I don't know where I
Okay.
wrote that paperclip scenario. That's basically like the idea that if you created a machine to make paperclips, and that was their directive was make
Mhm.
paperclips, like
Oh,
eventually would
right, yeah.
consume the entire planets to create paperclips, and it would be
Yep.
the best at doing it or whatever.
Mhm.
So I just want to know what their core directive is here, like how this is set up. Are we seeing the paperclip scenario? Do they basically this get a
Mhm.
directive to create like the way for a stable, best, peaceful humanity, and
Mhm.
therefore they destroy the entire world to just start over? Like, sorry, we need
Right.
to wipe the slate clean,
Right.
and
We're never gonna do it with these flawed humans that we have.
yeah.
So let's just, yeah, cut them off now. Yeah. I mean, that certainly seems to be the implication.
Hmm.
I mean,
So,
which again, I mean, I had made a note of this. I think if that's the case, it's very smart of mother. She has a point when she talks to her daughter about not telling her the real truth about, the contagion that's outside, that it's really droids. Like there's no plague, there's no, virus or whatever. It's not anything like that. It's actually
mhm,
the droids. She has a point about not telling her the truth about that, because how would you ever be raised by a droid being like, you wiped out humanity, like can't trust
yeah,
you. um so that's an
it's
interesting,
yeah.
like, you know, little conundrum, that where it was a horrible point, but I also saw it.
But children accept their reality, the children accept the reality they're given. Like, to me, at one point I commented, wow, it's pretty
Mm,
interesting that she would so quickly um, go against everything that
yeah.
she's known.
Mhm.
And then I where did I write that? Because I made some other points with it. Um,
Mhm.
I don't know where I wrote it, but it's basically where pretty good that she would begin to question everything she has ever known.
Right.
Is that good upbringing, good genes, or is the power of having been isolated from your own kind? What
Mhm.
does this? And what kind of draw or power does that have? So, like, is it more that she sees someone else that she can immediately relates to because,
Mhm.
like, oh, you're like me, and I've wanted that and never had that,
Mhm.
and therefore I'm more likely to believe you?
Mhm.
And how does that apply? Or is it, just purely humans have uh, like a stubbornness to find the truth?
Mhm.
And ultimately, a lot of people have the drive to question and stuff. And so it
Right.
makes it more, I don't know, I thought that was interesting.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of an interesting combination, I thought, of, daughter's curiosity and
Hmm.
desire to know and desire to question, that of course, like, mother has, tended to, I think, in terms of very strictly her education and, her knowledge base, in trying to teach her to be a better human. And then of course, like, once you introduce a variable, you can't control that
Yeah.
trait that you've then nurtured. You can't expect it to just work the same way with this, like, unknown variable and this unknown possibility for more information.
Yep.
um but I also thought it was it was very, like, it was kind of a nice humanizing moment, to pull us out of this, like, bigger kind of world and philosophical questioning kind of movie, um, where part of, I think, daughter's desire to go outside and to follow woman and to know more was, the faces that she saw, her
Yeah.
drawing in her book, especially like a 15-year-old boy. She was like,
Yeah.
it was totally like, oh my God, this is a cute boy moment.
I know, right?
And
Too.
I mean, I just liked it because there was just, that sort of sense of like, "Oh my god," like, like, flag for
Yeah.
normalcy over here, something we recognize in our current world. So, yeah,
Yep.
I thought, it's again, to a larger point, it's another example of humans, having these characteristics, that we
Mhm.
think of, like, to ourselves, like these common characteristics that we recognize about each other, like the desire to question, the desire to, learn more, but also, the desire to chase a cute boy. So,
I'm sure she was thinking, "Oh, I remember that sex ed class that mother taught
right,
me. I bet I want to apply a bunch of those
right.
methodologies." Like,
Let me go find this boy in the mines and
yeah,
let's see if mother's right about this.
yeah. um, but yeah, yeah. Um, I like the questions the movie
Hmm.
makes me ask, I guess,
Yeah.
of this kind of thing. And it's really interesting. I should have brought the line because I when I said I'm starting Dune and didn't
Mm-hmm.
expect whatever I was getting there.
Hmm.
There's a line in there about clearly they have dealt with an AI or machines, or they have
Yeah.
an
Hmm.
understanding of what machines are, and Um, so I'm excited that Dune is getting into that as well. I don't know if I have that on my phone or not. Or I'd look
Mhm.
up the exact line, but I love it. Um, but how else do you think this relates then to Raised by Wolves? So obviously we have
Sure.
uh, androids, droids deciding that they can raise, I guess, deciding, we're going to go with that, I suppose,
Yeah,
taking upon themselves to raise humans in a
right.
better way. Raised by Wolves clearly focuses on the idea that religion or belief in the supernatural is what ultimately causes the downfall of humanity,
Mhm.
and therefore that's where we're going to start.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I think there were some elements of that in I Am Mother. When we get introduced to Hilary Swank's woman character, she says a prayer. So that's sort of
yeah,
interesting and antithetical to, I think, Mother's teachings as far as I'm aware of in the movie, because there was no
yeah,
reference to like
right,
being brought up religiously.
yep,
And then, of course, like from Mother's eyes, Hilary Swank is just like an outsider trying to take her child away. Just like in Raised by Wolves, you have this like
yeah,
religious group that comes in on this planet where Mother is left, sadly, spoiler alert for Raised by Wolves, alone with her only surviving child from the first, batch of humanity, and is trying to take him away. So there's some similar types of elements there for
yep.
sure.
So where did Hillary Swank get the like Christian paraphernalia?
Yeah,
Like,
she
didn't she just
clearly
find it? Where did
scavenged
that
it
come from?
somewhere.
Yeah.
'Cause she had a whole, so the the day that I watched this, I also was flipping through TV earlier in the day and found Wall-E on
Mm.
one of the channels. I was just watching that because I love that movie, and I thought Hilary Swank had a very Wall-E-esque, like, shipping container where she had, like, all these, like, random, like, treasures and trinkets
Hmm.
of humanity. I mean, she had practical stuff like food too, of course, but yeah, she had this whole,
Yep.
like, knick-knacky thing going on. So clearly,
Yeah.
whenever, I mean, we don't really get to see anywhere beyond like a sort of natural environment for the earth that, we're seeing outside the compound. We don't get to see like a city or anything like that, so we don't really know what
Yep.
happened when these droids destroyed humanity, as we assume that they've done. So she must have been able to scavenge something from somewhere, or from other shipping containers that were washed up or something.
Mhm.
So, I
But
mean,
it's an
they
interesting
must not have, like,
commentary.
totally destroyed everything.
Hmm. It's clearly like a intentional commentary there, though, that if she was
Right.
not raised with this, that then she would go in out into the world and in her scavenging happen upon this stuff she's never learned about, and
Mhm.
now
Know
accept
what to do
that
with it.
belief, or yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, like find a Bible somewhere and read it. Like, it's very, um, I mean, I guess it's further like going along with the
Mhm.
nature of humanity and stuff. So
Yeah. Mhm.
both seem to be commenting on that. Even Raised by Wolves too is the same
Right.
thing. Like there's a desire to be looking for something else that shows you there's something greater.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, and, I think they do get a little bit of different treatment, of course, because in this movie, we're seeing that as just a very small part of Hilary Swank's character. It's a
Yep.
signal, it's there, but, she's not, like, dressed herself up in any sort of like religious, paraphernalia
Yeah.
or something like that. Whereas, in of course Raised by Wolves, it's like the whole point is to be dressed in this very specific
Mhm.
belief uniform. So in that capacity, they operate much more like, I think, a group would in something like Game of Thrones, when we see that sort of like religious collective,
Mhm.
where they like signal to each other. They've got religious symbols and signals and things like that, and they're a neatly defined group. Whereas Hilary Swank is just kind of one that
Yep.
is working to find meaning.
So, do we think that it was the plan to have this Hilary Swank character, this version raised to be out there to eventually like interact with, or do we think that's a mistake, or just they just have like a backup, it's a backup plan kind of thing,
Yeah.
or
Yeah, I don't know that this was ever exactly the intention, but I mean, the movie after we, see mother give up and just sort of, let daughter take the reins in raising humanity. We do see her go back to that shipping container and talk to Hilary Swank and be like, it's so funny that you, out of all beings,
yeah.
survived on your own. And it's like somebody planned this.
Hmm.
And I mean, it does sort of suggest to me that maybe this wasn't mother's first idea for this to happen, but it is a plan, you know, X7 on her scale of stratagem, to
Yeah.
test daughter and test daughter's independence and move this forward.
And ultimately, will she come back? Would that
Yeah,
be the
mhm.
test? You ultimately come back
Right,
and to see the
exactly.
logic behind it, that this is, or
Right,
that she cares enough about her. Like, was that strategic? We're gonna, hey, you can baby brother time.
exactly.
Um, and so you care enough about humanity that you're willing to come back to enslavement, I guess,
Right,
for your baby brother.
right.
Like,
Yeah,
I don't
if
know.
she hadn't come back, would she then turn into the next Hillary Swank?
Right.
And we
Exactly.
we kill Hillary Swank and then like let daughter be out there,
Yeah.
you know?
Right. And then do something with their memories.
Right,
So,
exactly.
like, very vague memory. Oh, Johnny Carson. Yeah, I'm missing that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah. I guess the last thing I see your comment here: a
Mhm.
cynical closing on singing. Are we destined to become our mothers or teachers?
Mhm.
So, I mean, we live by example. We learn
Yeah.
by example. And
Mhm.
that's all she's had.
Right. That's
So,
quite literally the only thing. So I think
mhm.
I don't know, I think it's an interesting thought process to think about having only one influence. I mean, she's watching daughter's watching like you said the Johnny Carson show and things like that. What is that really an influence if you literally have no other people around you to put that or give that context? Is
Maybe
that
that's
really
the
an
point, though.
influence? Yeah.
Maybe that's the point. Like, hey, here's Johnny Carson, regarded as a classy, whatever guy. Here's your
Yeah.
male influence.
Right.
Like,
Yeah. Here's your
I don't know.
dad. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's one thing that I think was interesting and different about Raised by Wolves. They don't just have a mother; they have a father for a while
Mhm.
before spoiler
Right.
spoiler, mother goes crazy and kills him.
Mhm.
But they have parents, whereas this scenario in I Am Mother seems to suggest you only need one.
Yep. Well, so everybody knows it's only spoilers for episode 1 of Raised by
Yes,
Wolves.
yes, very
So,
true.
like, I have more I can contribute, and I will not contribute from episode 2. So you guys you'll be okay. I mean, I was upset, honestly, when I read the, like, what the Raised by Wolves is about, just like the description for episode 1.
Oh yeah.
And it
Hmm.
talks about how, like, after however many kids there, and I'm the one left. I'm like, well, you didn't even tell me that all the rest of them died. That could have been a surprise, you know.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
it's episode 1. It's to get you into it.
Right.
So, yep. All right. Anything else that's gone unsaid about this film?
I don't think so. I really enjoyed this film. I liked it a lot, especially watching it in context with Raised by Wolves.
Hmm.
It was a similar yet different take on a similar problem. So it was really interesting to watch those two in concert with each other.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of Raised by Wolves,
Mhm.
see what where that goes, and
Yeah.
how that like how we fought, what more similarities we can draw, between these two things now or not.
Yeah,
So,
agreed.
um I was thinking we should do, like, maybe a one episode summation of Raised by Wolves when
Sure.
that's both done with that, and then we can kind of revisit this and see if like it's, if there's much more in common with this film or not.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see kind of what that Raised by Wolves ends on in comparison with, I
Hmm.
Am Mother.
Yep.
Because obviously, we've only got the beginning here for Raised by Wolves. So
Yep.
we could see kind of the whole progression and see what might be similar. Yeah, be very interesting.
I think that episodes 4 and 5 of Raised by Wolves are out already.
Oh, all right. Okay.
So got lots.
Yeah, got
Got
lots to
so
catch up
much.
on.
You're watching the other HBO show yet too, Lovecraft Country.
Yes, that's
So
right. That's right. HBO, you're crushing it.
mhm. All right. That's been this episode. Hope you all like it.
Hmm.
If you're a philosophy major out there, or you just whatever, you write in, you let us know what you think.
Hmm.
Watch this movie, give us your take on it.
That's right. Tell us
Um,
tell us your thoughts about utopias and if they're possible.
yep, yep. When I was a kid, I read Dinotopia.
Oh
Kind of
my gosh, I
was.
did too.
Yeah, yep. So maybe it's possible with dinosaurs. We just
That's
bring
right.
dinosaurs in the
Maybe
mix.
I was gonna say
Utopia.
maybe it's humans. Maybe we're the problem. Maybe dinosaurs had a whole utopia going before that whole asteroid thing.
Well, from the outside, from our cushy homes, the world looks pretty utopic sometimes.
Hmm.
Um, but then, not if you're the frog that gets eaten by the snake. It's not so utopic then. It's not so peaceful or tranquil or perfect. So,
Very true.
all right. Well, thank you to Killing the Flower for our theme song.
Mhm.
And like I said, they have a new song out now, so check that out on YouTube.
Yes.
And it's personally my favorite of theirs thus far.
Awesome.
Um,
Well, I will be listening to
and
it for the first time after this podcast, so I will be excited. So everybody go do it
nice.
because I'm going to do it too.
All right. And my brother-in-law, who is in that band, he streams games usually 3 times a week. It's been a little different now recently. Usually it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but you'll often catch me streaming with him or playing with him. That's Lucas333 on Twitch. That's Lucas with a K. As far as us, you can expect the regular 2 episodes a week generally. We're still covering The Boys season 2 now. That
Yeah.
will bring to you midweek. We'll be on episodes 3 and 4. So watch that along with us.
Hmm.
Follow us on Twitch and on YouTube, and like and share and comment, Facebook, Twitter, our website, all that good stuff,
Hmm.
and let us know what we can do to improve, and where we're absolutely wrong and stupid, and where we're smart and cool. So,
Yeah, that's right. We want to hear it all.
yep. All right. Well, thanks for joining me, Andrea.
Of course. Cheers, everybody.